Okay, I'm back. I'm back in a hot ass mess as per usual. I am so freaking smart. It's like 90 degrees and I'm wearing a sweater. I had a brain fart and I had no idea where I'm going with that sentence. But anywho, soon, I keep telling myself I will one day have a semi-consistent upload schedule, but today is not the day. Alrighty, so hey, how's it going? How's life? My name is Sophia. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to do the mid-year book freakout tag. It's basically a book tag where we discuss the books I've read earlier on this year and any future plans I may have for reading later on in the year. This video Ooh, disclaimer, this video may or may not be a hot ass mess for two reasons. One, the sun is setting right now as we speak, and two, the last time I filmed a video was all the way back in January. So we shall see how this goes. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the questions. Alrighty, so question number one is going to be the best book you've read so far. And for me, that is going to be Kaikai by Vaishnavi Patel. In the story, you are following our main character Kaikai from childhood all the way up to adulthood. This story is a retelling of the Indian epic poem, the Ramayana. I believe is how you pronounce it. If it's not, I apologize. This book recently came out this year, and before I read it, I had heard, or like I had seen it around on my Twitter timeline, and I had a few friends that read it and enjoyed it. And so just out of curiosity, I decided to pick this up on a whim, and one of the best decisions I've made this year. I loved this story. I loved the characters. They're all morally gray. The magic, the world, the writing, everything about this story is just absolute perfection. I would classify this as a feminist retelling of a mythology, and so if you liked Circe, I feel like you would like this a lot. So we're following our main character Kaikai from her childhood all the way up until adulthood. We get to see her trials, her tribulations, and the story is basically told through her perspective. So it's basically Kaikai reflecting on her life. So it's kind of like a story within a story type vibes, and I just loved everything about it. Hands down, one of the best books I've read this year. Definitely going to be on my best books of 2022. So the second question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. And for me, that is going to be A Psalm of Storm and Silence by Roseanne A. Brown. In the story, you are following two main characters. The first one is Karina, who is a princess, and the second is Malik, who is a peasant. Now, for certain reasons, Karina must kill a king to gain his heart, and Malik has to kill the princess in order to get something that he wants. Their paths collide and our story goes from there. Sequels make me nervous. I tend to not like second books in series. Granted, this is a duology and I thought it was beautifully written, but I have been burned in the past where I read the first book to a series I thought I adored, and then I read the second book and it was a massive disappointment. Luckily for me, this did not disappoint. I loved everything about it. The second book also adds in interludes that weren't in the first book, and those interludes were amazing. They were masterfully done. Incredible. I also really liked the ending of the duology. simply because it's very open-ended, and I know there are a lot of people that don't like open-ended endings, but I actually love them. And not a lot of authors do open-ended endings. And so when I got to the end and I read it, I wanted to cry because I was emotional. But yes, A Psalm of Storms and Silence, incredible, wonderful. Question number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. I was gonna say Babel, but I realized that that comes out in August. So instead, I'm going to say Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan, I believe is how you say her name. Su Lin Tan, oh my gosh, I was right. But yes, I have heard absolutely nothing but amazing things about Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Literally, everybody on my timeline that has read this book has loved and adored it. And I have been told that I would love and adore it. And so the fact that I have yet to read it is blasphemy. It's just blasphemy. And so all I know is that this is a reimagining of the Chinese mythology of Changba. I hope I said her name right. But yeah, that's all I know about this, and that it takes place in a celestial court. Why haven't I read this yet? I don't know. The next question is going to be your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And for me, that is going to be Babel by R.F. Kuang. I may or may not have gotten a narc. I may or may not have started reading it months ago. But yeah, this is like another book where the people who've read it absolutely love and adore it and say that it's the most amazing, wonderful thing ever. And I love the Poppy War trilogy. It made me cry several times. It's one of my favorite trilogies of all time. And so the fact that I haven't gotten to it yet is also blasphemy. But yes, I'm super hyped and super excited to get to it, hopefully soon-ish. Fingers crossed. All I know about this is that it's a dark academia novel, and it explores how colonization and imperialism affects academia. That's like a very broad synopsis, but yeah, I'm very hyped to get to that soon. So the 5th question is going to be your biggest disappointment, and for this I don't really have an answer. I feel like a lot of the books I read, I didn't really have expectations for. So like when it turned out that they were mediocre, I was like, okay, I guess. So I don't really have an answer for this one. Maybe Second Rebel. Second Rebel, that was a situation. That's all I have to say about that. Moving on. Question number 6 is going to be your biggest surprise, and for me that is going to be Blood Scion. I randomly heard about this on Twitter and I was like, that sounds interesting. And then my friend Tammy started reading it and she fell in love. And so I picked it up hoping to like it. But so far, I love it. I haven't finished it yet. I have about 2 hours left in the audiobook. And I am just loving it. Like the writing, the characters, the world building, every single aspect about this story is amazing. And it's from a debut author. And like also it's very dark. It's considered YA, but I feel like it's very, very dark for YA. And it's willing to take the story places where I feel like other authors might be scared. Like the author takes it there, and I was not prepared for it at all. The angle might be slightly different, and that is because my camera died, unfortunately, but what's new? Alrighty, so Question number 7 is going to be new favorite author, debut, or new to you. Why is this like this? I feel like I feel like the lighting just switched up on me. Alrighty, so for this, I am going to be choosing Vaishnavi Patel. Like I said, I loved Kai. Loved that story. I honestly, before the end of the year, I might reread it because I just loved the story so much and I loved the writing, and I have high hopes. I have high hopes for this author. Her debut was just so strong, so well written, so well executed that I have high hopes for this author. And so she is going to be my new favorite author. Hopefully she doesn't disappoint. No tea, no shade. Anyways, moving on. Question number 8 is going to be newest fictional crush. I don't have any. Unfortunately, this year for me has been dry. Drier than the Sahara Desert. And so I don't have a response for this question. Question number 9 is going to be your newest favorite character. And for me, that is going to be Kai. I love her. I loved her. I loved her narration. I loved her character development. I loved her feminism. Like, she is everything to me, okay? Like, this video is just going to be one long ad for Kai. Like, go read it if you haven't already. Question number 10 is going to be a book that made you cry. I'm not gonna say Kai for this one, even though it did make me emotional. A book that made me cry. I feel like I haven't really cried much this year, but if I had to choose something that wasn't Kai, I guess I would choose A Psalm of Storm and Silence what the heck? A Psalm of Storm and Silence is the book I would choose. Simply because I feel like the ending was bittersweet, and there's something about endings that makes me cry. Like, I don't know, whenever there's like a series finale, I always cry in the series finale, because like you've grown attached to the characters, you've seen them grow like throughout several books. And so yeah, that's going to be my answer. Oh my gosh, so Grown, I forgot. If I had to choose another book that made me cry, it would be Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I read this on the recommendation of my friend Taylor from Made Between the Pages. Love her, you should go check her out. And it's a contemporary, which is surprising. If you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you know that contemporary is not really my thing. But that book definitely hit me in the feels. Question number 11 is going to be a book that made you happy. I don't read happy books, if I'm being completely honest. I enjoy pain when it comes to my stories. So let me see. A book that made me happy. Yeah, I don't have a answer to this, because I am allergic to happiness, okay? I hate myself sometimes. Question number 12 is favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year. I didn't see any. Moving on. Question number 13 is favorite video you've done so far this year. I've done what? I think I've done 4 videos in this entire year. So if I had to choose a video, it would be my yearly TBR for the first half of the year. Out of all the books I put on that TBR, I only have 2 left to read, which is very impressive to me because I don't follow TBRs at all. And so I feel like I did a pretty good job reading most of the books on that TBR. Was it the best video I've done? I have no clue, if I'm being completely honest, but like I feel accomplished. So I'm gonna go with that as my best video this year. Question number 14 is going to be the most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. And for me, that is going to be Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. This is the UK hardback edition. I love the UK hardback edition. It's just so pretty. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the Waterstones edition or the Fairy Loot edition, and people are selling the Fairy Loot edition for $200. But this is just as pretty as the other editions. Also, if you know anybody who doesn't want their Fairy Loot edition of Daughter of the Moon Goddess, feel free to let me know. Feel free to let me know, because I love that edition. It's so pretty. And I will not rest until I get one. Question number 15 is going to be, what books do you need to read by the end of this year? Let's see. If I had to pick one, what is this? Haunting of Tramcar? No, hold on. Give me a second. Alrighty, so a book I need to read by the end of this year is going to be Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldier. This has been all over my timeline on Twitter. I have yet to hear a single negative thing about this book. I decided to just buy it on a whim, and I need to get to it ASAP. Let's see. I also need to read Daughter of the Moon Goddess, Babel. I need to read Babel right now. I need to be reading it right now as we speak. But yeah, so that was my mid-year book freakout tag. Honey, when I tell you this video was a hot ass mess to film, but it's the best you're gonna get from me. But yeah, so that was it for my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've reached the end of the video, feel free to leave me a little book stack emoji. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope to see you guys soon with another video, and until then, I will see you soon. Bye. My voice cracked. Bye. My voice cracked again. Oh my god.